Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Top 10 Show. I am John Roca.
I'm Matt Nost, and how are you, sir?
I'm good. Just prepping to head on off to San Diego. We're moving in about, as we're recording this, we're moving in about 9 days down there. So it's a little, actually less than that, about 8 days. So it's a little nerve-wracking getting all the packing done. I've only just started on the bookcases. So this weekend we'll be stacking everything, all of this stuff into bins, putting it out all in the center for the movers to take, and then packing up all my clothes so it's ready to go Thursday morning. So I'm going down ahead of the ladies so I can give them their last check, get the keys, and then we do a walkthrough of the entire place and then wait for the installers of the cable and all that stuff to show up. And then I'll come back up and then we'll hang out one last night in the place and then moving down Friday. But dude, I booked a hosting gig for Friday, so I won't even be able to help with the move on Friday. Lindley's a little mad that she's going to be in charge of all of it. Yeah. So, it's
you got to do it. You do what you got to do here.
Exactly. How are you, man? How are things on your end? You're 2-0 Chicago Bears. How are you in life right now? Are you feeling okay?
We talked about that on with Golden Ticket, or afterwards. Actually, it was post show. They're paper tigers.
Yeah.
Swift should have caught that ball in the end zone in week 1.
Yeah.
And week 2, Saquon goes down. Mm-hmm. Now we still have controlled the game, but it's not like the Giants are world beaters,
right?
So we could very easily be 0-2 right now.
Is there anything positive you take out of the first 2 weeks?
We look okay. We don't look terrible.
True.
So that's good. We don't look terrible, but we look middling is what we look.
Yeah.
And that's nowhere you either want to be. You want to be trending up or at the top. Here's what all our draft collateral has gotten us, middling.
How are you feeling about Matt Nagy now? Do you feel like he's on a hot seat, or do you think there's nothing to do here in the situation?
He's 2-0. He's not on the hot seat.
Okay. All right.
Because you can always point to that and we're like, we're winning the games we need to win. Mm-hmm. So it really comes down to, obviously, the rest of the season. It's only 2 weeks. You know what I mean? You can't take any real gauge or temperature of what is actually real and what isn't, by and large. Some teams, yes. And other teams, not so much. Like, I believe in the Packers. They look pretty legit.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And the Seahawks, I like the Seahawks. And I like more NFC teams.
Mm-hmm.
But, are the Chargers for real? I don't know. That's interesting, though.
Yeah. Well, they're going to stick with Tyrod Taylor, so I don't know what we're going to see from the kid.
He needs 2 working lungs before he's technically back.
His own doctor stabbed him in the lung. He pulled a Pulp Fiction on him, man. Craziness, dude.
Punctured his lung. Well, he was trying to inject a rib into a rib or something.
Oh, can you imagine that? Oh, shit.
Oh, it's just the pain. The pain of that had to be.
Oh, sure.
Oh, God. And the coach said that he's not mad at the doctor. So he's a good guy.
Yeah.
It happens.
You puncture the starting quarterback's rib lung sometimes. That's how it goes sometimes. If this was Tom Brady and that was Bill Belichick, that guy would be out of a job within the day. There's no way they keep him after that.
Well, he very well is out of a job. But to do it so publicly makes it look like you hired a shitty medical staff.
That's a good point, actually. I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah.
So too. If you hold on to it and eventually let him go later on in the season, he had another job come up in like 5 games or something.
Yeah, some kind of PR.
Let him exit gracefully so both sides save face. I think that's where that's heading. Can you tell me the team doctor of any team?
No, I can't. No.
Exactly. So this dude has lost his fucking job.
Yeah. He's been on Hard Knocks, though. The guy who did this, he has been all over Hard Knocks. So if you watch the show, you've seen the guy a number of times this season.
Okay.
On the show. So not a bad season, actually. I thought it was going to be kind of lame. It actually was cool with seeing the Chargers and Rams and how they were prepping. And the Rams look like they figured something out here and are back to playing good football. And Goff looks like he's playing decent, not terrible like last year. So maybe, I don't know, maybe.
Do you trust that offense?
I don't know. I don't trust anything with Goff, but he's looked good. I mean, they stomped the Eagles and they won their first game of the year. So they feel like they might have repaired some stuff from last year, but we don't know yet.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't like running back by committee. I think ultimately
it's fair.
Unless your quarterback is A+,
right,
you need help at the very key skill positions. You need at least one alpha.
Yeah.
And they don't. It's a week by week cases at this point.
Yeah.
So,
well, the as we're recording this, we don't know yet who are going to be in the finals, but it looked for the NBA, but it looks good with the Heat with that 3-1 lead. And then the Lakers look like they got a little bit found out by these Nuggets, don't you think?
A little bit, but I love that every week now we talk sports because there's nothing else that goes on in my life on a day-to-day basis that is remotely enjoyable. I'm just saying from that kind of aspect where you view from afar to follow the activities and whatnot, because everything else is political. Everything else.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all just this wave of fuck, man. No, all right. Son of a shit. Okay. That's positive. Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
I think you just summed up just about every American's day.
Yeah,
no matter what
that's
side
every
of the
day.
you're on. Yeah,
there's like 4 of those yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Gavin Newsom saying by 2035 there's not going to be any more, petrol run, carbon, fucking run cars anymore. It's all going to be electric. Just like that's a great thing. And then you'll see 5 articles from climate, scientists saying we're not good, guys.
We're all
not good. You're like, D. You're right when you think you're trying to do something good. Oh,
I miss the days. What's that?
So sports. It's the only fucking thing.
I just miss the days when you could decide if you could eat eggs or not eat eggs when they were saying they were good or bad for you.
Yeah.
Now it's like every little thing you do or every big thing you do could be good or bad. You can find people who defend one side and people who defend another side with degrees. So you're just like, well, I don't know what to do here. So it's craziness, man.
Well, I tend to, if they have a degree in whatever it is, I will listen to their counsel first.
Yeah, that's true.
I can choose to look elsewhere, but I'm going to start there as opposed to somebody with the loudest voice just because they have followers or something like that. Yeah. You're like, I'm not sure that you're the learned individual for this one.
Right. I'm not sure that you're the go-to.
Unless you're retweeting that other dude's tweet.
Yeah.
Don't know if I'm looking to you for advice on this.
But I mean, the games have been fun to watch. The Celtics have been giving the Heat everything they can handle. And they're one like kind of mental lapse game away from having swept the Celtics out too, dude. It's pretty incredible.
I wish the people that listen to this, because we over the years we've discovered the ones that like sports that listen to our show like it as much as we do.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But the Venn diagram isn't as full as we thought. And I wish they had it because it's been so nice to have that reprieve in both of our lives.
Yeah.
And so many others that it's like, shit, man. I wish you had this. Come on board. I'll happily, between the two of us, I'll help teach you to get you in. It's a fun sport. Tell you who's an asshole, who's not, where the rivalries are. Like, just to give you something else to focus on, man, because it's been fun for that. Yeah, the playoffs have been awesome. The Heat, how do you deny it at this point?
Yeah, man. That's just that team that's feeling it, man.
They have 2 losses. Well.
Yeah.
2. In 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero last night, somebody pointed out that he stopped wearing PGs. It was on Reddit. And then like 2 comments later, because I was just scanning it this morning. So Tyler Hero has been wearing PGs up until this round.
Okay, explain what PGs are for people.
Paul George 1's his original version. I think he's on 2 or 3 at this point. I don't know. I know he's on 2 minimum. Anyway, so he's wearing PGs in rounds 1 and 2. And now, since PG is no longer in it, he has switched over to, who I'll think of it in a second. Okay. He switched. So there's all this focus on, look at that. Like, Hero's more clutch than PG at this point. That's why he couldn't wear those shoes.
Damn.
Yeah. It's kind of true, at least for this playoffs.
True.
He looked, every time he shot last night, I was like, that's in. Even when he missed, it looked good. Yeah. He was just confident as hell.
The madness of last night when you compare it to the madness of the night before, where Jokic was closing his eyes with his hands and throwing the ball, like it was insane. Some of the shots that Jokic was making.
It's great.
I was just like, wait, how? He's literally just going.
That's what he does.
What happened? And they're swishing and they're banging off the backboard. There were so many lucky shots by the Nuggets that game. Yet they had that chance to beat LA in the second game. It was there. If they don't fall asleep on defense on Anthony Davis in that one split second, and Rondo's smart enough to know how to get the ball to Anthony in the corner there or in the side there, it's a 2-1 series lead for the Nuggets. So they could have found something out. And I said this after the second game. I was like, they might have found something out about the Lakers, and game 3 will show us. And they sure as hell stomped all over the Lakers in game 3. So will this continue? Because LeBron's going to try to boss him out of the playoffs now, just with this one victory. He's going to play the refs the whole 9.
That's what some people are saying. Well, they've already publicly said, hey, the Lakers, hey, isn't it interesting that LeBron has so few free throws this series? So he's going to be getting calls. Yeah. It's smart.
Yeah, it's how you play the game.
Yeah, it's part of the game. You lobby for, because he technically hasn't complained publicly himself.
Yeah.
Although he's complained about other things, but whatever. I don't know. That one at this point looks more intriguing, because you could say the same thing about the Boston and Miami. Technically, after 4 games, they both scored 441 points.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So it's not like this is a runaway. It's just 3-1 because things trended in certain directions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I am not denigrating what the Heat have done. It's been fantastic to watch. Yeah, I love it. I wish, once again, everybody out there that doesn't like sports, get on board. It's really good. It's really good.
It's the one thing we have that seems untainted by everything else that's going on.
Well, still, it creeps in, and that's fine. I'm fine with that, because overall, they're providing a hell of a distraction for me.
I do find it fascinating, though, Matt. And it's real quick, and I know we got to get into the show, but real quick, I find it fascinating. I don't know about you if you've been watching this, but like all of a sudden, all these commentators are able to speak freely at ESPN about these social justice situations, about Breonna Taylor, about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, as Rachel Nichols did the other night. And you're just like, you were firing people left and right if they spoke out about this. And now you're okay with it all of a sudden. Like Jamel Hill was ushered out of ESPN for saying the things that she said. But then you have Jalen Rose going off about the Breonna Taylor thing. You have Rachel Nichols. Did they sense that maybe the country's flipped in a way, and so they feel safe that they can do this now? Because before, it was like a mandate that you can't talk to social justice stuff on ESPN.
Politics was not allowed in the slightest. I think it's just it's emblematic of the year in general.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. Of course it's like this.
Yeah. Just fascinating.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Well, are we ready to get into the show, man?
Yeah, I am down. I think that's enough kibitzing.
I don't want to guess anybody. We lose too many people because we're talking sports and stuff. So, but yeah, we got a lot to get into today. We got a great, awesome list here. Was this one that we came up with, or a suggestion from somebody?
No, this is from Patreon. This is our boss hog for the month.
Okay. It's the top 10 best movies under 90 minutes. That's an hour and 30 or under. And do we know who suggested this topic to us, Matt, at this point, or do we have?
Yes, I've got it right in front of me.
Great. Who is it?
From James Leggett.
Oh, thank you, James. All right.
And he's ready to roll with his list. Just jumps right. I guess he's got a postscript to throw on there, but nothing up top.
All right.
But yeah, it was his choice. So he put it out. He sent it to us, and we both went, "Hey, that looks fun."
Yeah.
And then I started looking into it, and technically, I would say there's minimum of almost 6-figure movies that would fit technically into this category. If you go to IMDb and you just look.
Right.
If you search for 90 minutes and under, there's, so many tens of thousands. It's ridiculous, technically.
I'm sure if you jump back into 30s, 40s, and 50s, there's a crap ton of them that are under 90 minutes.
But I'm just saying, if you want to set the cap from, like, say, 45 minutes to 90, I would say 50,000 movies count. There's 50,000.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Like,
it's under 90. Where do you cut off saying it's a movie? Because in 1910, like, you could only have so much of those reels because they were a fire hazard if you collected too many in one area.
It's true.
So movies were only so long.
Yeah.
It's like, well, technically, The Show Pony from 1907
Yeah.
is valid because that was a movie in their time. I didn't do that, but it's like, fucking Christ, I didn't realize the Herculean task we had just set forth for ourselves.
Yeah.
So under that, like I tried to go about 70, 75 to 90.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
All right.
Maybe a little, 65. I don't think so, but I tried to go 70, 75.
Okay. I try to pick movies that I try to do the Matt Nost approach to this one. I try to pick movies that that we haven't talked about that much, that are some of my favorites. And they run the gamut. And I had a list of I had a list probably of 80 to 90 movies because I just wrote the ones I liked. And then from there, really pared down the ones I really, really liked. And then from there, the ones I actually want to talk about on the show. So, it's been an interesting experience, to say the least, to do this list. And I liked it. It's a nice challenge.
It is.
We don't get too many of these nowadays. Yeah.
I matched your flavor matching my flavor, which is I just chose 10 random movies because even random. Going between 70 and 70, not random, but not the true top 10, because it's like, even 70 minutes to 90 minutes, we're still talking about 1,000 movies. I cannot legitimately say I've seen 900 of those 1,000, 800 of, I don't know, 600. So it's just like, I can't do that technically. So I just was like, well, you know what? We've never talked about this movie. I think we've only talked about this one once or twice. And I did the same thing. So we're talking about, it sounds like we're talking about all kinds of different, maybe 20 different movies. Yeah,
it might be. And so this will be interesting when we put it all together. I have a feeling there'll be a lot of coins being flipped for this particular list that we're putting together. So, all right. If we're ready to go, Matt, do you want to tell them how the show works?
Sure. Once James gave us that sweet topic, we went our individual ways and created personal top 10 lists. Show back up here. I do my bottom three. He does his bottom three. I do my next two. He does his next two. Then we trade one apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the two of us.
Boom. All right. Start us off, my man.
All right. At 10, I've got Pi.
Oh, good choice. Yep. Not on my list, but great choice.
It is I've only seen it once.
Okay.
But it sticks with you. It's like a Requiem, or it's like just a weird, I can still go through the arc of the movie. So it's a guy trying to discover, he thinks there's a hidden meaning within pi. And then there's religious people that come in and think that pi actually is the name of God. So that's why you have to keep calculating. And there's another group that comes in. Everybody has their ideas of what pi's meaning is. Right. And it drives them loony rather. So it's just this weird kind of build, and it's got a interesting pace. This announced Aronofsky, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I didn't see it until I'd seen 2 or 3 of his others. I had heard of it, but I'd never seen it. Right. And then I watched it and I was like, man, that is really strange. Like highbrow concept, well executed. It's got an art house feel, but it doesn't feel like, student film. Mm-hmm. It's just really good. Plus, I don't think we've ever talked, maybe once, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's like Pi and Following and Cube. Those 3 were right around the same time. One announcing Aronofsky, the other announcing Nolan, and I can't remember who did Cube, but those were like kind of these kind of like, first forays into the world of theatrical releases from these young directors. And Pi was such an interesting watch, and Following, being black and white as well, like very interesting watch as well. So overall, I mean, I enjoyed Pi, and I like Aronofsky as a director. He's not always, not always nails it, but he certainly challenges you as a viewer. He's not a guy that's going to make like $1 million, like $7, $20, $30 million off a movie himself, but he challenges you as a viewer, and you can hate him or like him, but I like The Fountain, and I know a lot of people don't. They find it pretentious or nutty, but I enjoyed The Fountain.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think Aronofsky is hit and miss for me.
Yes. I agree with that because Mother was nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least he's making choices. Even if I don't like the movie, it's like, well, he had a strong vision and idea as to what he was doing. I still have faith in him going forward.
Right.
It's just every movie he makes may not be for me, but you've already made some that are engaging, very interesting, visually unique to you.
Yeah.
So I'll ride with him again.
Yeah, because Requiem for a Dream, a lot of people, like, it's a difficult movie to watch, but it's damn good.
It is damn good.
The Wrestler is really good, in my opinion. Black Swan is good.
Sure.
I'll even defend Noah to be honest with you. I enjoy watching Noah. He took some swings on that one. Yeah, I know it's not for everybody.
It's not good though.
All right, let me say so. I like it.
It's not. I saw it in the theater, man, and that was not good.
All right, fair enough. All right, what's your number 9, man?
My number 9 is Monster Squad.
Oh, good choice. Nice. I think it's the 80s, right? 80s or 90s classic. Yeah.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s. But I discovered it when it was on VHS. I didn't know, and it felt I thought it was going to be a shitty like knockoff. You know what I mean? Like a Mac and Me level production type of thing.
Right.
And I just happened. It was on cable or something, or maybe it was the VHS, but it was around that time. Yeah. And I watched it. And I was like, that was so good. So good. You take all these monsters from the past. You got Dracula, you got werewolf and all that, but to make it feel fresh, and still it doesn't feel like stale, tired cliches. And it's just these kids that have to fight all of the universal monsters that, Tom Cruise tried to set up for himself and just couldn't pull off.
Yeah.
They did it in one movie, those, badasses. But I think it's
all in there.
Yeah, I think it translates. So if you wanted to watch it with your 10, 12-year-old, whatever, they would enjoy it and the parent would enjoy it along with. I don't know how often I go back for it now, but I would not watch it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people love this movie. A lot of people reference this movie, I know, as one of these classic 80s films. And Shane Black was the co-screenwriter for this. So kind of interesting thing on his resume as well. Not a lot of names necessarily in the cast. I mean, John Grease is in the cast, who some of you may know from Napoleon Dynamite and about a million other films that he's been in. But yeah, what you talk about there with Dracula and Frankenstein's monster, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Van Helsing's in this thing, The Mummy. So many of these classic characters, and it's fun. It's a fun film. And yeah, at times does it feel dated? Sure. But the energy of it is timeless. And when you watch it, it's a blast to get to kind of see it for the first time or revisit it. I enjoy it.
Yeah. It's the Goonies fights monsters.
But better. Yeah.
No.
Better than the Goonies. Yeah.
It's not better than the Goonies.
I think that's what you're saying.
That's fine. We established long ago that you're dead inside. Whatever part of you that should have captured the magic of true cinema that is supposed to spark life into the viewer, especially in that of someone under the age of, 18 or 16.
Sure.
In the magic. I was much younger, but I think the range upon first viewing is just as effective for all those.
Sure.
So,
We are tiny but mighty crew of people who enjoy good cinema, and Goonies does not fit our criteria. But fair. I might be dead inside for that movie. That's for sure.
It's from a guy that tries to defend Transformers.
Hey,
this isn't a racist piece of shit.
I didn't say that. That second one is racist. I've said this a million times. I don't like that second one.
What about Age of Extinction? How do you defend that movie?
China? That was them just trying to make money, man. That's a studio.
One of many choices in
that's
that
not
movie.
A Michael Bay situation.
What about the fucking Bud Light placement by Mark Wahlberg? That was so gratuitous. He's perfectly holding the bottle. What do you guys? Don't worry, you're gonna make $1 billion.
Listen, Pepsi's all over Back to the Future. Give me a break. There is product placement
totally fucking different, and you know it.
How? It's all over the place.
How? Because that wasn't the 17th in a line of billion-dollar franchise movies. That was the first. This has already literally made $5 billion at the box office. You don't need it, you greedy fucks.
Well, I mean, if it works, it works. If it works, it works.
We just shot a lot of alien robots. Let me make sure that no matter where I turn, the label stays perfectly in the
So what
frame.
you're saying is if you're up 56-10 in the Super Bowl, you don't want to be throwing the ball. Is that what you're trying to say?
If it's your winning by that much in a row, yes.
There are not even 7 movies in that franchise. It was the fourth one.
Fine. Your 4th Super Bowl in a row. You don't need to pass. Take a knee. Yeah. But delay a game. Lose some yardage for the other team.
I want this very clear. I don't defend these films as great cinema or anything like that. They're guilty pleasures and they're fun to watch. I know people hate them, but I just want to make sure that's clear. Some people come at me about criticism while they have like 10 Adam Sandler films that suck, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, you can come at me for Transformers. Give me a break." Everyone's got their guilty pleasures, for God's sakes. Come on.
True, but comedy is subjective, whereas I think action films aren't as
much. You
much.
think action films aren't subjective? What?
As much.
Any film is subjective, for God's sakes.
But I'm saying on the ones where you have like, you don't walk out of an action movie and go, I didn't see enough explosions. Whereas you walk out of a comedy going, I didn't laugh that much. If it doesn't get you, it doesn't get you for the whole fucking thing. Whereas an action movie could be like, you know what, it sucked in the beginning, but that last action sequence was pretty cool. Like Godzilla, I'm not a fan of, but if you were really into that final action, great, good for you.
Okay. All right.
I just think that comedy is much more subjective. Anyway.
You say so.
Anyway, so you're saying pass when you're up 57-0. All right.
I'm not. Well, yeah. Because I'm saying if you don't want me to keep scoring on you, then stop me. That's kind of how I feel about it. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, it's just a weird parallel. You're already making a factory film.
It just seems to me like an odd thing to be upset about. You know they're going to do it.
Oh, it's one of many. It's the going to China. There's also the Chinese product placement, like Tucci needlessly holds that little juice box. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, oh, Jesus, you had to get money from the Chinese guys too?
Listen, I hate to break it to you, but films aren't about art. They're about commerce. If they happen to be artistic, great. Right. But the goal is to make money so they can stay alive to make those artistic films. So for every product placement issue you have, you'll get a Interstellar, or you'll get one of these more nuanced films that are funded.
The product placement, if it's not gratuitous and just ham-fisted.
All right.
If they subtly, like in the middle, they exploded into a truck, but made the truck even more pivotal part of the scene, and then the end, like in what is that, Guardians 2, when Nebula eats the fruit that's not ripe yet.
Oh yeah.
If it's part of the scene and it's like this bottle going around and it hit Mark Wahlberg once or twice, and at the end he like breaks the top or something, takes a drink, like gets out of it. It's been an action piece within this. Yes. Okay. If it's just this shameless breaking the fourth wall.
Okay.
That's where I find fault.
Fair enough.
I don't mind the commerce. Just do it artfully, for Christ's sakes, Michael Bay.
Artful commerce. Got it. All right.
Yep.
What's your number 8?
My number 8 is The General. The Buster Keaton.
Wow, nice choice, man. A little silent film. All right, go ahead.
It fully holds up. If you were to go back and watch it now, there's genuinely a couple they're straight sight gags. Yeah. But they make you don't die laughing. But I genuinely chuckle to myself, like that's a good fucking joke.
Yeah.
And it's all the physicality of it.
Yeah.
And he managed to do it a couple different times, like in the beginning, in the middle, he's got like the sack and whatnot when he's got the girl in there. And then on the train later on, he's dealing with the soldiers that are trying to take him out.
Right.
Yeah, because, he's a Confederate general or a Confederate wannabe soldier, by the way.
Yeah.
So, interesting choice. He wants to join, fight those devil blue coats.
But he's doing it to impress a girl because he's in love with a girl, and he sees that everyone else is signing up, so he wants to sign up and fight. But it's only to impress a girl, not because he has a political leaning one way or the other. It's just to impress a girl, and then he sees all the nuttiness of it all.
Well, yeah, he gets denied a couple times because he works on the train, so he's too valuable. But they don't tell him that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, because some silent films you go back for and you're like, wow, this is it's such broad strokes.
Yeah.
Because it has to be. This is a new medium when you're trying to communicate, and to still see like the subtle little bits and the great comedic timing all these years later. He's that's why he's one of the best. Genuinely, if you've never seen it, it's worth the watch.
Yeah. I remember watching it for the first time maybe 3 or 4 years ago on TCM. Because I was like trying to make a run. I think it was after our Metropolis episode. We did that Thunderdome episode. Okay. I was like, you know what? I need to watch some more of these silent films. So I started like looking for them on TCM and then scheduling them to be recorded. And one of the ones I watched was The General. and because I'd never seen it before, and I was, this is actually damn good. It's not even black and white; it's more sepia tone than black and white, and it's very interesting to watch what he does. And remember, this is at that time where they weren't like, well, where's my stunt double? Let's really map out this stunt like fully and try it 100 times before we film it. This is like they had to shoot these films quick, so they're coming up with these stunts and seeing if they can pull them off. And it's madness to see how close they come to hurting themselves or to breaking stuff or whatever. And I think they've released at times some behind the scenes stuff where you've seen some messed up takes, or you've seen them mess, and you're just like, holy shit. It's like, why these are the Jackie Chan stuff.
Yeah.
When you see the messed up takes in the end credits, you're just like, what? It's a miracle these people live. It's a miracle with some of the stunts they come up with.
I've seen a breakdown of what everything they had to do to make that Buster Keaton where he tries to jump between roofs, or does he fall out the window and he goes down and hits the 3 canopies? Because that's a legit stunt.
Yeah.
So how do they do that? They've got a few, like that one where he grabs onto the car. He had to have a metal hook and a harness on him, because otherwise it would tear your arm out of socket. Yep. Even still, with the metal harness, it's going to jostle your body like fucking crazy. And that's one of 10 amazing comedic stunts that he does, dude. Yeah. It's impressive when you go back and watch. The General doesn't have those huge ones like he's done in others. I think some of the best comedy is more the subtle, at least by silent film standards, subtle stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it's when the best of that era is genuinely, you can go back for it. Yeah. The Harold Lloyd Safety at Last. That's an awesome one. When he's climbing that clock, when he's climbing on the clock. I've only seen that part of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing's got it. I mean, that's the most famous one but there's the whole thing has an insane amount of stunts when he's actually climbing the building, when he's going through the building. Like, there's so many stunts in Safety at Last. I think there are more stunts in the Keaton stuff and in the Harold Lloyd stuff than there are necessarily in Charlie Chaplin stuff. Chaplin was more about like the story itself, and the stunts were in addition to the story. But with these, a lot of these, the stunts are really a huge part of the story. So, I appreciate that very much. All right. So that was your 8?
Yep.
Okay. So then my number 10 is Rope, the Alfred Hitchcock film.
Okay. Great choice.
Love this film. It's slowly become one of my favorite Hitchcock films. Because it's shot like a play. In essence, it's shot, I think most of it is shot in one take. And it's an incredible exploration of the arrogance of 2 young guys who test their professor. They invite him to a party, and James Stewart plays the professor. They invite him to the party. They've killed someone and put that person inside a chest of drawers, and one of these guys, or a trunk rather, and they've laid like a cover over top of it and put like food or candles on. So they're one of the guys is trying to, because he's a bit of a sociopath, he's getting joy, or a psychopath really, since he killed, he's getting joy out of trying to outsmart his teacher. And the other kid is losing his mind, and he's trying to like leave little hints to see if James Stewart can catch on. And then it becomes a cat and mouse game throughout this dinner party where other people are showing up. There's a girlfriend here that shows up, and all of that goes on with her. So much about this film. It's a tight, I think, is 70-some minutes. But throughout, you're just like waiting for him to catch on to what's happening. Then once he catches on to what's happening, you're watching them play games with each other throughout these psychological mind games, almost a what we call this, a horror of manners, a mystery of manners, because no one's flat out saying it, but they're all alluding around it in crafty ways until they get to that end. So I really enjoyed it. Hitchcock did a great job with this one.
I already knew all that about it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it discussed, and the shooting style and whatnot. Because isn't that the one where he tried to do it? It's made to look in one take.
Yeah, made to look like all in one take.
Yeah. He's got very specific cut points, but it's these long, extended scenes between. I know quite a bit about it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. All right.
I going through this, that was one I came across, and I was like, you know what? One day. I got nothing against it. It's just it's one of many movies that I just haven't seen yet.
It's one of those one-day movies. I totally get that. I have those too. I have like a list of those. Yeah. Like, someday I'll get
one day. I will. It's not. I wanna.
Yeah. The other thing about the film that I think is brilliant is the name Rope makes so much sense, because that's what it feels like, that you're when you're watching it, you're into the tension. It feels like the rope tightens around your neck as you're watching the film as it goes along, because you start to really get into the tension of it all, and almost like, losing your breath a little bit to what's happening. So yeah, good stuff there overall. All right. Then my number 9 is Slow West.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good choice.
One of my favorite Westerns that have come out in the last 10, 15 years. Just really enjoy this one with Ben
Fassbender.
Yeah, Michael Fassbender and Mendelsohn as the villain.
Mendelsohn, yeah.
Yeah, and the Hound is in this thing as the father of the girl, that the main kid.
The kid, he's been in a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, I think it's Cody Smith McPhee is the kid's name. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he is great in the film. Really enjoy what he brings to it and the journey he goes on, because it's a journey that isn't necessarily going to lead to a happy ending. If you're watching it, you don't know if it's going to end in a happy ending. So you're on a knife's edge throughout the whole film, and it takes its time. It takes its time getting to where it's going to get to. He's an Irish kid. He's going after this girl. He's in love with this girl. Karen Pistorius plays the girl. And he goes through all this weird stuff to try and get to her. And by the end, I'm not going to ruin it, but by the end, a lot of stuff happens to him and to Michael Fassbender, who he picks up kind of along the way to help him on this journey.
Wow.
And then, what are you going to say?
Yeah, you can't really say. I mean, I want to talk about one of my favorite scenes in it, but it's just like, I don't want to spoil the movie because nobody saw.
Right.
It's not really a spoiler, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
Just like, you know what? It is a lot of fun. I saw it. I don't think it captured the same amount of magic it did for you. I wish it had. Mm-hmm. I loved Fassbender in it. I mean, I loved Fassbender in it, but I understand why he's, not the primary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm always on the hunt for new and interesting Westerns. And I put this in the pile with The Proposition, with Salvation, with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and the assassination of Jesse James. Huh?
Buster Scruggs.
Yeah.
Surprisingly good. I saw the trailer for that and I was like, that looks terrible. And then I watched it and I was like, this is great.
Yeah. Incredibly unusual stuff. I mean, if you gotta keep a genre alive, and there have been so many great classic Westerns, you got to find new ways to have fun within the genre. And I feel like Slow West does, because Slow West is exactly its title. It takes its damn time, even though it's like an hour and 28 or hour and 27 minutes, the movie, it takes its time getting to where it's going. So it asks you as a viewer to just kind of enjoy spending time with these characters as you go. They're Sisters Brothers. That's another one that just came out, or Brother Sisters, whatever his name is, with John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix. That's another one that is a completely unusual Western.
I like that movie. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't thought about that since I saw it, or right around that time.
Yeah.
I can see why it didn't resonate for everybody, but that was fun.
Right. Didn't hardly made any money, but it was damn good. All right. Then my number 8 is the French film Breathless, which is one of my favorite films ever made. Such a fantastic, it's a conversational film. This guy, he's broken the law and he's on the run in Paris, and he hooks up with this girl, and they walk around Paris and have this relationship around Paris as they get to know each other. He's a thief who steals a car, then he kills a policeman. So it's not a strong, it's not a guy you necessarily want to be having as your protagonist, but for whatever reason it works. And he hooks up with this American, who is Gene Seberg, who they just did a film about, that Kristen Stewart was in, playing the character of playing the actress Gene Seberg. Not a good film, but this film is incredible. It's my favorite Jean-Luc Godard film. And I'm not always the biggest fan of some of these French new wave directors, but I do enjoy Breathless, and I do enjoy the conversations they're having, not just about man-woman relationships, but about the world and about what's happening. Remember, this is 50. What year is this? 1960. So 1960, around the cusp of all this change that's coming, the nuclear war, the Cold War that's happening, all the stuff that's going to be coming up here in the 60s, but it comes at a certain time. And so if you haven't seen Breathless, I can't encourage you enough to watch it. Some great dialogue, great scenes, twists and turns throughout. And it's a Criterion. It's one I own. It was one of the first ones I ever bought. And it's great, just great film that takes its time as well. And don't see the remake with Richard Gere. That is not good. So,
Okay.
you ever seen this one?
Nope.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Jean-Paul Belmondo plays the lead, who's a very well-known French actor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, check it out.
That's what I can tell you. Check it out.
Check it out.
All right. What's your number 7, man?
7 is Dale and Tucker versus Evil.
Oh, nice choice, dude. Nice choice.
I've only put it on one list that I know of.
Okay.
So out of nowhere, just an excellent. It's kind of what really helps you like even Alan Tudyk even more, because he has all these different types of characters. He is a chameleon on some level.
Yeah.
I can't wait till eventually he's going to get a meaty Oscar role, and he's going to win an Oscar.
Yeah, maybe
I genuinely
someday.
think so.
Sure. Yeah.
Even if it's a supporting,
Right.
because he's transformed into so many different people. Sometimes he plays an idiot, which he plays an idiot with a heart.
Yeah.
He's not fully an idiot in this one. You know, he's smart in his own capacity.
Right.
And his friend, just these teenagers show up. It's a comedy of errors. They look so intimidating. The teenagers are freaked out, but they're really just kittens. And the one dude, the non-Alan Tudyk, wants nothing more than just like to befriend them. He's a big dog, and they view him as a predator. But just the terror, what kills me, what slays me, is at one point, I believe it's Tudyk, and he's just cut through a log that has bees in it. And then he is running afterwards with the chainsaw because the bees are chasing him, and the kids happen to show up, and they already think that they're creepy. They kind of show up at their cabin, but it's not a cheap coincidence type of thing. And the kids are already running because one of them inadvertently got staked. Like, once again, it's just plausible. So one of the guys is running, and then Tudyk is running next to him, and he's got the chainsaw. Yeah. And the kid is running from him because he thinks it's Tudyk, and Tudyk's like running next to him like it's bees, man. Like, but it's the look on the face. It's the comedic timing. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's just a well thought out, executed, simple yet smart comedy horror.
Right.
Really good.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Is Tyler Labine in this one? Is that Tyler Labine? Is
it the heavyset guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, usually has a 5 o'clock shadow or like a slight beard.
Yeah. That guy's funny because I remember him on that show Reaper. He was very funny on Reaper. The show was on like a year and a half or something on CW.
Okay.
All right. What's your 6?
My 6 is Attack the Block.
Oh, good choice, man. Great choice. I thought we had spoken about it before a couple times, so I left it off the list. But if it's good you put it on the list, man. That's great. Great choice.
I could only think of one. It was instead of I know it's 1, maybe 2. I think it's 2. I don't think 3.
All right.
So
fair.
In 5 years and change of shows, that's fine.
Yeah, totally.
But maybe there's more. You know, it's not like either of our memories are perfect at this point.
That's fair too.
So someone can point it out. Actually, it's been 7 episodes.
7 from which you've said.
Yeah. And God bless you if you do it. I'd love to know what they are.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't tell you with a gun to my head. So Attack the Block it's the aliens themselves are somehow simultaneously awful and amazing.
Yeah.
You think they're going to trend awful, and the little hook they have with them with the teeth is so effective that now it's completely flipped into this is actually pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
You got Nick Frost, John Boyega's first movie. Couldn't tell you who else is in it. I think there's at least 1 or 2 other names.
Jodie Whittaker is in it, who's the current Doctor Who, the female Doctor Who. She's in it.
She was a doctor that tries to
right. Yep.
Somebody comes in hurt or something, and then she ends up down at that block. And then Nick Frost is a middleman for a weed grower, and he just sells weed, and he's kind of friends with the kids. He's just kind of big galoot.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, he's Baloo in essence from Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Except a stoner version.
I think Joe Wright is the director on this one. Am I right on that?
That I don't know.
Okay. I'm pretty sure it's the guy who did the one that Gary Oldman won the Oscar for, the Churchill film.
Oh, really?
Hour, I think. Let me see here.
The Darkest Hour. You know, the
Darkest Hour.
First 2-3 things I was like, just anything. I couldn't come up with Darkest Hour in that short little amount of time, and I made up like 3 titles in my head. Then you said Darkest Hour, and I was like, I'm an idiot. It was Darkest Hour.
No, I'm wrong. Attack the Block. It was not Joe Wright. So who is the? Let me see. He did. Oh, it was Joe Cornish. Sorry, Joe Cornish, not Joe Wright. I knew it was Joe. So let's see what he's done as a director. Not much. Not much at all. He didn't do anything for 5 years directing wise. Then did The Kid Who Would Be King last year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I heard that was good though.
Yeah, true.
I mean, for what it is, I heard it was good. Just nobody saw it.
Right. He wrote Adventures of Tintin, the screenplay for that, and Ant-Man as well. So
okay. Well, he's got a career then.
Yeah, he's got something he's working on. He's also an actor. He was in yeah. So yeah. All right. This guy works as a producer. He's done soundtracks. Wow. All right. But yeah, I like this film a lot. It was a surprise. I remember going to see it in the theater, and because I was at that time where I could go sneak out and watch these independent films. Dude, there was a time in my life where before everything got crazy and all these shows, where I would just go on Tuesday afternoon or a Wednesday afternoon, because I had the day off or whatever, and go catch these independent films and just have a really good time watching them. I don't do that as much anymore, and certainly now. But like I miss those days of going out and watching a movie and not have to worry about, at least, do I need to remember the actor, the director for the Schmodown, and blah, blah, blah. I miss those days where I could just watch a movie and enjoy it and savor it and what have you. So Attack the Block was one of those ones. There was maybe 10 people in the theater. I remember going to see it at the old Sunset 5 before they did the remodeling, and just sitting there and just having a great time watching that movie and enjoying John Boyega and enjoying Jodie Whittaker, who I obviously didn't. I think I knew Jodie Whittaker because she'd been in that film Venus with Peter O'Toole. Other than that, I really didn't know, and I knew Nick Frost obviously, but because of the Simon Pegg stuff. But I didn't know Boyega, but he was great in the movie, and so overall, and there's real tension in that movie. There's real horror kind of vibes to that movie, along with the sarcasm of these kids from that situation. Yeah,
these monsters mean business. It's not just like a looming threat. You see them tear into some people.
Yeah, agreed.
So when they're cornering the kids and attacking them, there's some genuine tension and terror. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
This is, they're right at the line of going too far. Because then it takes it into like, well, maybe we shouldn't have cast so many kids in this movie if you're going to get that dark and gory.
Right. Good point.
It's quality. So that is
okay.
My number 6. What do you got at 7?
All right, let me see here. What I got at 7? Let me bring it up. Ghost in the Shell, the anime movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen it once. So
okay, one of my favorites, bar none. One of my favorites. Okay. It's about to come out on 4K. Or no, actually, it is out on 4K. Sorry, that is out on 4K. Cinema Paradiso is about to come out in about a month on 4K, but that one is in 4K. I've got it. I ordered it the other day, so I'm waiting for it to come. I can't wait to watch it. Ghost in the Shell is one of those ones that I'm just like, I go back to all the time. I'm not a big anime person, not because I have any issue with it. It's just not something I've jumped to necessarily, but I certainly respect the hell out of anime and respect the hell out of the creators who are successful doing anime. I enjoyed that Batman anime that they did, which was madness. And I'm a big fan of Akira, of course, or Akira, however you want to say it. But Ghost in the Shell is the one that has my heart always, because I just really like the fact that it's a film that kind of takes it takes you on a journey here about this idea of like, who are you are you the person? Are you your body, or are you the thing inside your body? How do you get, who controls what in this situation? And what, when you're solving the crime, when they're solving the crime with the general and all of that, what she goes through, the visuals of it, the kabuki stuff that's in it, all of it is just so fascinating, the visuals. And then of course it becomes this like detective story. They're trying to figure out the corruption within the corporation. So it's got Blade Runner vibes to it as well. And then Batu, who was his second, he spins off, or was the general second, spins off into, or the major, I'm sorry, the major, not the general, the major second, he spins off into the sequel in a sense where it's about him and his journey and what he's trying to figure out and all that. But this film still works for me visually, story-wise. The acting, the voiceover, the Japanese voiceover is fantastic as well. So it just resonates for me, man. I believe I saw it in high school. Okay.
It was this and one or two others. Like one friend had them all, and he's like, "Hey, you guys, you ever seen any of these?" And we watched them, but he was the only one. And he wasn't
Right.
really that hardcore into it. I think he got him from somebody else type of thing, but he enjoyed him.
Yeah.
So it's been so long that I don't really have an opinion at this point.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's a hacker. They jump into this thing trying to figure out the hacker called the Puppet Master and what does it all mean, and then it exposes what's going on with the overall corporation that's been taken over and doing all the tech here in the city. So just great stuff.
Yeah.
All right, my number 6 then is, and this is controversial. I know people are going to get upset, but I can't deny that I like this film. So if you are upset about me saying this person or this film, fine. It's Zelig, the Woody Allen film.
Oh, okay.
I know people have, and I totally respect it, and I certainly don't like some of the stuff outside of the realm of what he's done. But if we're going to talk, we're still revere Chinatown. I think there are some of the Woody Allen films that need to be revered still as well.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, Zelig is a film that I thoroughly enjoy. It's incredibly funny. It works on so many levels because I'm not always the person that runs to Woody Allen films necessarily. A nebbish guy complaining about the world while he's also having sex with these women who are way out of his league. I get that that's, a little bit of the arrogance or the ego of the guy. No matter how self-deprecating he is, he does put these women in these films that are above his, out of his league or whatever in my mind. But with Zelig, it was about the exploration of how we as a society, or this guy is taken to the nth degree where he conforms to whoever he's around, right? It's this idea of like, it's the destruction of individualism in exchange for conformity so that you can feel comfortable in the world. And this was like the 70s where this idea of rebellion was really powerful coming out of the 60s and all that. But this idea of like this push to be like everyone else, this push to be accepted by society overall, that if you were different or you were unusual, you were excommunicated. So this guy has a psychological condition, a mental condition, that he's so afraid to not be accepted that he can physically alter his body to be anybody he's around. And like there's a scene where he gets around these larger, older Hasidic Jewish people. And he's obviously a Jewish guy, but he's skinny, he's gaunt. And then he all of a sudden, after they come back after an hour, he's like put on weight and the curls have come in and he's wearing the hat. And it's just incredible. He has this physical ability to do it, gets with a bunch of jazz musicians. And this can get a little bit dangerous. He does become a black man, and it's Woody Allen in blackface and doing the things that he's doing. But it's the overall point that it's about the conformity. This guy's self-esteem is so low that he is willing to conform to whatever's around him. And Mia Farrow plays this psychiatrist who's documenting all of this and trying to figure out how to heal him so he doesn't feel the need to be this thing. And then they get into a relationship, they start falling, but then he starts conforming to be what she wants him to be. And now she has to confront the fact that she's making him, or kind of inspiring him to do these things to conform to what she thinks he should be. So still she erases his individuality while she's trying to get him to embrace his individuality. So it's a very interesting film, I think. And all of it done in under 90 minutes. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Check it out. I got a bunch of those today.
Yet another one Matt hasn't seen. All right, fine. Let's jump into
I've never watched any Woody Allen. It's kind of been a choice.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Once I hadn't seen a bunch, it's just like, I don't really care. It doesn't grab my attention. So,
right. Okay.
And then it turned out he's kind of, he's a little strange.
Yeah. Just for lack of a better term. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, so worked out in my favor.
All right. Where are we going with the number 5, man?
My number 5 is Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Oh, great choice, dude. Take it away, man. That's
2 or 3 that could have made.
Yeah.
And I also didn't include a Chaplin. I figured I had a Buster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I thought about including a Chaplin. You had options.
Yeah.
But Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, I think it's when I genuinely fell in love with Abbott and Costello, because I saw them all as a kid. I wasn't, alive when they initially came out.
Right.
So I was the perfect age where the humor was second to none. I loved them. I think Abbott and Costello might have been my favorite, and I like the Stooges.
Yes, the Stooges are great.
Yeah, never got into the Marx Brothers all that much, and then Laurel and Hardy bits and pieces, but not really.
Right.
Who else is there? Am I missing anybody? Of the comedic troupe of that era?
Oh, Laurel and Hardy, the Marx Brothers. Yeah, no, that's everybody. Abbott and Costello, that's pretty much everybody. Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, just the It's the comedy of errors of the magic of Who's on First, which is vaudeville just put onto celluloid.
That's incredible.
To do that in this, do a variation of, Costello keeps seeing Dracula early on, and Abbott, come on, guy, like, doesn't make sense. There's nothing in there. And Dracula gets out of the coffin right when Abbott goes to look in it, and Costello's like, I don't know what I'm seeing, type of thing. And if you've never seen it, do you think the humor would translate if you weren't indoctrinated to it already?
I think slapstick comedy is always going to work, man. It's just a matter of, do you have an interest in seeing because some people are turned off by black and white movies. Like Makuga said he'll never watch a black and white movie. Like to him, it's like, well, if it's in black and white, it's not really my interest. And it's like, okay, I get that. Some people are like that. Some people aren't. If that doesn't bother you, then I think comedy is timeless. Great comedy is timeless.
Yes.
100 years from now, am I going to listen to am I going to tell someone if I'm still alive, hey, you got to listen to Eddie Murphy CD? This is great. Yes, absolutely. Why wouldn't it be? So there's a lot of comedy that's still timeless. The Marx Brothers stuff can be timeless. So yeah, I would definitely say if you got interested in this kind of comedy, which is vaudevillian comedy, you'll like it.
Yeah, I'd be interested in 100 years if you didn't know what vaudeville type comedy was before you saw it and you walked into this. Would you find this funny? I think so, but I don't know.
Right.
Because comedy has evolved dramatically in the past 100 years. So where the hell is it going to be in the next 100? Because we, on a massive scale, this is kind of still a new art form.
Yeah, true. Very true. All right, that was your number 5.
Yep, that was my 5.
Okay. My 5 is What We Do in the Shadows.
That's a punt.
Oh, nice. All right. Speaking of comedy. All right, what's your 4?
My 4 is Airplane.
Oh, yeah. I don't love it as much as other people do, but dude, I totally get why people do. Yeah.
When it's good, it's excellent.
Okay.
Are there parts that I agree with you that I don't care about? Almost everything with the pilot, all his backstory and the flight attendant, I don't really connect or care.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it. Okay.
But it's all the jokes they cram in left and right. The Lou Alcindor, aka Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, out of nowhere, breaking the fourth wall.
Great scene.
You tell your dad if he had to drag 4 bums up and down the court every night, he'd be tired on defense too. I can't remember exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's even at the time, like I saw that and I fucking knew exactly who was, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was. Just like, wow, what a condemnation of your teammates at that time. But it gave us, Leslie Nielsen as a comedic actor, but he's the ultimate straight man in all this. And just the timing is, and then all the stupid punch in the Hare Krishnas, what would never happen in a movie now, the jive scene. Be cool, blood. Yeah. Never in a million years would you shoot that.
Can't get away with that now.
You could, but it's not. I don't take that scene as talking down or making fun of.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's not one of the scenes I have an issue with. I think it's great. And when they bring it back in the sequel, because that's the only funny part of the sequel is when they go to the court. That's the only funny part of the sequel because they start to talk some more jive. Yeah, the sequel's terrible.
I hated it.
But I mean, it was brilliant to have Mrs. Beaver, the Beaver's mom, come in there.
The cleanest of clean.
Cut me some slack, Jack.
Yeah, the whitest of white.
Yeah,
just mayonnaise on Wonder Bread.
Say, Big Mama, don't tell me no slack. Don't take no crap. Cut me some slack.
I mean,
Jack.
It's good. It's great. You can tell they rehearsed it.
Oh yeah.
They have such great timing between the three of them. It's just a nice little piece of acting in the middle of this really smart, stupid comedy.
Yeah, that's a great description, Matt. It is a smart, stupid comedy. Yeah.
It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, but at the same time, if it's going to make the joke, it's going to try and make this vulgar joke as smart as it possibly can.
Yeah.
Or a gag in a way you've never seen, like sitting on the little girl's IV bag, and she keeps and then just playing that song. What is it? A missionary? A nun or something?
Yeah, it's a nun.
It's a nun. Yeah, playing it, thinking she's helping this fucking Julie Andrews type character.
Yeah.
Just when it works, it so works.
Yeah.
And then in other parts, it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean
But-
they're all standing in line to hit the woman with a lead pipe and all that. That can't work nowadays. But the jazz scene when they're all playing whatever in the cockpit, that's kind of funny.
Okay.
Certainly I like that. And the chicken
Blowing up
thing.
the
is
autopilot.
yeah, blowing up the autopilot. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. It's a certain, it's a certain kind of humor,
Yeah,
and who knows how much of that would transfer. Yeah. But it's not. It's not. It's not because it's not funny. I just don't love it as much as other people do. But I totally get why people love it. We covered it on the Cinephiles with Mance, and Mance and Steve just absolutely loved the film. And I was one guy that wasn't quite as into it as they were. But yeah,
it's got moments that are like they. But I think overall. Anyway, so that's my number 4.
Okay. My 4 is a Rashomon from Akira Kurosawa.
Okay.
A classic film, won best international feature at the Oscars at that time. But yeah, that's the film. I mean, it's not in my top 5 Kurosawa films, but in terms of 90-minute films, it's in there for me because it's a master work from him. And, this idea of this peasant who rapes a woman of honor, and then the husband gets upset about it. So and they all go to this person to tell the story of what happened. And each one tells the story differently. And the judge has to make the decision about who's telling the truth. And it's, of course, become a classic thing. People say, oh, it's a Rashomon situation where, the he said, she said type of thing. And it's very interesting what's explored in the film. And you're challenged as a viewer to see which of the retellings do you believe and which of the retellings seems right to you. And then you're like, well, if I like this retelling, that means I have to think this way about the other person. But what if there are elements about it? Wait, I think this is so it's a constant thing in your brain as you're watching the movie about who you champion, who you go along with.
Yeah.
And we've seen countless films copy this afterwards, and countless TV series have an episode where they're recounting this or following this as well. And so it's great act. Toshiro Mifune's fantastic in the film, leading a great stable of actors in it. And Kurosawa does some great work with this and great writing on this as well.
But I love that intrigue of trying to piece together the film and what you've been shown. And, look, Memento's come up a lot lately. Is that movie.
Fair point.
By different retellings and different occurrences, you're trying to, and you still don't know exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of make your own decision. I think to the nth degree, it would be another Nolan with Inception.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to determine what is reality and what is not. It's a Nolan staple. It's a good movie. I haven't seen it in so long.
Oh, really?
Okay. As you were talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, and then there's this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw it.
You're hearing 4 perspectives because you're hearing it from the bride's point of view that she was raped. The samurai husband who's been killed by this bandit, you hear his tale as a ghost. And then you have this woodcutter who's kind of outside the 3. So you have in essence an outside opinion of what happened. So all 4 things are told. So it's Groundhog Day, same thing, right? It's going back in time to kind of whatever. There's an element of that with the Rashomon situation too. It's going back to tell a certain storyline, to have a certain storyline be the truth for him or for whatever he creates, So there's all of that in here. If you haven't seen Rashomon and you've heard people talk about it on ad nauseum, and you're like, well, I've heard it. No. You got to watch the movie. The movie is really well done. And if you have never seen a Kurosawa film, that's a great one to start off with as well. Like Seven Samurai is 3 hours. Some people can't do a 3-hour black and white film.
Yeah, that's true.
So give this one a chance. It's an hour and 28 minutes. You can get through that, quickly. So that's my thoughts on that. All right, brother. What's your 3?
My 3, I don't think this has come up on many lists, surprisingly. Stand By Me.
Great choice, dude. Yeah, I don't think it's come up on much, man. Yeah.
We did Stephen King, and then I don't think it made the coming of age show that we did way back, and then I couldn't tell you what else we potentially could have, used it for.
Yeah.
When I found that across, and I was like, wow, surprisingly, I don't think we have really talked about this movie, which you get, it's a River Phoenix before he passed and he was on his ascension, and you've got Jerry O'Connell looking unrecognizable. Corey Feldman during a string of pretty impressive movies.
Yeah.
And then fourth kid I'm blanking on. I can visualize his face. He was in a million movies.
Well, you're talking about Will Wheaton?
Yeah.
The kid from Star Trek Next Generation? Yeah.
And then Kiefer Sutherland makes a small role. You got Richard Dreyfuss on the voiceover.
Yeah.
Recalling the tale. Was it Will Wheaton? I don't think
Will Wheaton's the main kid with River Phoenix. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think if Casey Shamasco's in this one as well. Yeah, Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, Jerry O'Connell, Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah, Casey Shamasco's in this as well. That's pretty much all the people besides Richard Dreyfuss, obviously. Oh, John Cusack's in this. He has a small part in this as well. I didn't even remember John was in this thing. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because it focuses so primarily on the kids and what they're going through. And it's just, they go out for an afternoon and have a 50s Huck Finn like adventure.
Yeah.
Almost get hit by a train because they're walking on train tracks and they go to see a dead body. And it's more about the overall arc of the four individuals and like all the angst and emotions and everything they're going through at home and stuff.
Yeah. It's one of my favorites for sure from the 80s. Rob Reiner directing this thing. And it's based on that novella, The Body. So shout out to them for expanding out the novella to be such an interesting coming of age story. And it's one of these coming of age stories that like in the 80s, this stuff was happening, kids were, I know it happens every generation, right? But in the 80s, amidst all this like fun stuff like Back to the Future and all this, there was also some more darkness that happened in the 80s. A lot of issues with father-son relationships, a lot of issues with parents and their kids, like the anger, the frustration, because they used to, back in the 80s, you could spank your child with a belt, with a switch, with whatever, a wooden spoon. It wasn't unheard of. And of course, you had parents or fathers who were dealing with PTSD from Vietnam War and Agent Orange and all of that. So there's a darker element to this movie. Plus, they're going to find a dead body. So this is not your standard coming of age film. It was like, oh, do I get to kiss the girl? How do I think? This is a real like
a different side of that
grittiness. Yeah.
Did you ever? Did your parents ever keep you in line with an object?
Oh, sure. Oh, please. That was not my mom. My mom never did that, but my dad. Oh yeah, the whipping with the belt. Absolutely, that was part of the upbringing when you got out of line. He wasn't abusive. Like it wasn't like burning cigarettes on my arm or anything, but he was a standard parent. And for my dad, if you lied or you spoke out of turn or you were a smart ass, you got the smack in the face or you got the belt, And so I had a few of those spankings, and I would say 9/10 of them were warranted. I would say 9/10 of them were warranted.
All right.
But to my father's credit, at 15 years old, when he tried to do it and it had no effect on me and I grabbed his wrist, because by that point I'd been lifting weights and I was strong, I said to him, I was like, you got to stop doing this. This is no way to communicate with us. We don't listen. We just build up anger at you for doing to us. So whatever lesson you're trying to teach us, we don't actually learn the lesson. We do it because you told us to do it, but we don't learn the lesson. And to my dad's credit, he actually listened to me, and then he stopped doing it after 15 years old. He stopped doing it, and he would still get upset. We'd have fights, verbal fights, but he wouldn't put his hands on me anymore. So, it's to his credit. He listened, so not a lot of dads probably would.
True. In that day and age.
Yeah. But yeah, I know a lot of people who like grew up as a standard thing. I don't know. Did you have that? Did you get any whippings ever?
My dad spanked me, and the only object my mom liked to use was the butt of a pistol.
What the fuck?
Right across the temple.
Oh, good. Good. It's good to joke about abuse. That's good. What's
right
your next
across the
joke?
temple. It's no joke, man. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I got Picasso eyes, and one sits about 6 inches higher than the other. And it was from my skull was still soft, and my mom just a 32,
just caving it in.
Right, it was just one. It was one swing. She wasn't malicious.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
And it was just no. My dad would spank me, and that was it. And I only chose my mom because she doesn't listen to the show. So
good.
My dad does. So hopefully he chuckles at that, and then rightly frowns like that's not funny, Matt.
Matthew, don't tell people I did that.
I remember once, like that dynamic shift in power that you're talking about with your dad.
Yeah.
I had one with my brother, and he came back from college, and I had been lifting, and I went to pin me down, put both his knees on my arms.
Yeah.
So they were flayed butterfly, like kind of over my head. But I'd already been lifting at Gold's for like 5 months, 2-3 times a week. I'd put in the work.
Yeah.
And he was going to, whatever, do some annoying thing he'd done his whole life. And I was able to press him up, and I started pushing him off of me like that. And the look on his face of, oh shit, just like, yeah. That shit doesn't happen around here anymore, type of thing.
Those days are over, pal.
Exactly. Those days, I just remember I was like, I'm strong enough to, I started doing it. It's like, I am strong enough to do this. Yeah, there was a little bit of that, like, I'm pushing you off. Felt so good.
Yeah, those are great moments in life. Those are also coming of age moments, so
They are.
And this one has a sad end to it too, as well. When you hear, especially when what happens to River Phoenix happens later on, a few years later,
shortly thereafter.
Yeah, it has a strong resonance with that as well.
It's a fun melancholy movie.
Yes, agreed. And if you grew up at a certain time, it's a film that you can understand. And even if you didn't, there's a universality to it about friends coming together at a certain age who kind of drift apart later on in life. But that adventure will always be a memory they have. Yeah. All right, that was your 3?
Yep.
Okay, so then my 3 is Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Great choice.
I mean, I know we don't talk about it a lot, I don't think, but I just had to put it on this list. There's another one too coming that I had to put on the list for me. But this one is just, I don't know, man. I hesitate to call it my favorite Wes Anderson one, but I will say it's the one I put on the most of all the Wes Anderson films is Fantastic Mr. Fox. I just really enjoy the animation. I enjoy the voiceover work from Clooney and Meryl Streep and Schwartzman and Bill Murray and a number of other people, Michael Gambon. It's great. Plus, again, the story of the underdog fox being hunted down by these corporations and him trying to, kind of steal his piece of the pie or his existence. But then also him having to learn that his old ways of doing things have to change. Yeah. He has to be more understanding of his son. He has to understand that his wife, that scene with him and Meryl Streep when they're in the sewer and she's telling him that you better do this and you've got to make some changes here or else she's essentially saying, I'm going to leave you. And that really kind of hits him. And the voiceover work in that scene between both of them, don't tell me voiceover work isn't acting. That's acting. And it's incredible to see that in the stop motion animation they do.
Yeah. So
it's a vibrant film. It's a fun film.
It is.
It's a quirky film, but it's a film I love though. That's why it's this high.
I know personally I put it on numerous lists. That's why I didn't put it on this one.
That's fair.
Yeah, totally. It's a personal type of yeah, it's awesome. And I liked Isle of Dogs. It was all right.
I liked Isle of Dogs.
Yeah. But it's kind of hard to stack up to Mr. Fox because you didn't stop motion with Wes Anderson. You had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
And it's got a unique energy. Somehow Anderson really brought the liveliness of his normal cinematic world into the stop motion. And it has a lot of his same aesthetic, but it's unique to this. And it has the same pace in beats and whatnot. And the way he sets up shots, he takes that amount of care in setting up for this. So it's genuinely complete, like Wes Anderson film. Whereas, say Hugo, I couldn't tell you distinctly that was a Scorsese if I didn't know.
Right.
Whereas I could take a guess at Fantastic Mr. Fox and be like, I don't know, it felt kind of like a Wes Anderson film. It's not like it's Scorsese. It's just he managed to translate something that I didn't think was really translatable. And that's where I think the aesthetic kind of threw me off in Isle of Dogs.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I made a choice between the two.
Yeah. I like Isle of Dogs, but I hear you. I 1,000% hear you. It's not as good as Fantastic Mr. Fox. But it's still interesting, with the Japanese aspects to it all and everything like that, and the nuclear war stuff. I like that, but it's not. It hasn't had the same magic. Even still, it's good. It's just the same magic. So yeah. All right, what's your number 2, man?
My number 2 is the punt from earlier, What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, good choice. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I watched it once, turned it off. I don't know how far into it, but I definitely didn't see over halfway.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then, I just didn't do anything for me. And then in that time in between, I had seen 2 or 3 other of Taika's, and perhaps I just better understood comedically where he was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, though, because when I went back and rewatched it, like, it all seems like stuff I would have loved the first time around. I'm not sure. I think part of it was that Catherine didn't enjoy it at all. So that I'm like kind of side-eyeing and she's not enjoying, so I don't enjoy it as much.
Right.
Type of, because you're the same way I am. I'm always down to watch a movie. Let's watch a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, but I have to pick and choose because to commit an hour to a show and do like 3 shows in a row, no problem.
Yeah.
For some reason, committing 2 hours to one thing. And it's different strokes for different folks.
Sure.
Some people just like the 1 hour and then they can kind of like check out for 5 minutes and then they can watch another one as opposed to be fully engaged.
Right.
So if she's not into it, then I'm like, oh, damn it. I wish she was more into this.
Yeah.
But going back and watch, I mean, when Taika tears the girl's throat and all the blood shoots everywhere.
Oh my God.
Died laughing. Such a great, the look on his face, the acting is just so good. And I like the Jermaine Clement and his ex-lover and the guy that's now usurping him and all that stuff. And the younger guy, that's what I think took me out of it, that she wasn't enjoying. But I think his flip is so good in the third act.
Yeah.
That fully justifies, and you need to wait through until the end. The bringing in the werewolves.
Yeah, the werewolf. I mean, the Lycan stuff is just
so good.
Yeah. Oh my God, that guy from Flight of the Conchords. He's
He's
like, we're not swear wolves.
Yeah, trying to be the nicest guy, and then the one buddy that gets to hang out with the vampires eventually becomes he's just all quiet. He's their mate that they want to bring with.
Oh. Yeah, it's such a brilliant world that they created, and it's one of my favorites. The only reason it's not higher up is because these other ones are just classics.
Sure,
but it's getting there. I mean, it's this TV series is just as funny, if not funnier.
Still haven't started it. Okay,
really? Oh my God, dude, it's even funnier at times than the actual movie, and you get them to they have 2 cameos, the guys in the first season, I think. So and it's great. And Taika Waititi and Jermaine either direct or produce a majority of the episodes in the first season. And the second season kind of takes off on its own. It's brilliant. But this film is, the whole thing with that Nosferatu guy down in the cellar.
Yeah.
That whole thing. When the 2 New Zealand police officers come in and they're mentally, kind of influencing them not to see what they're seeing and the conversations they have, it's hilarious. And you're right. The stuff with Jermaine Clement and the jealousy he has with the other, with the woman and then the other guy who's in there. Yeah, that all is funny, but it's all, and it's the whole universality of living with somebody. We've all lived with somebody for them who we didn't want to live with or we had issues with, and you had to kind of compromise on certain things. So we've all been in that boat at some stage in our lives. So there's a universality of that humor that's hilarious. Put paper down, at least put newspaper down if you're going to spray blood or do whatever. You got to clean the dishes. Just all of it. Just the humor from top to bottom is brilliant, man. I just love this movie. I love going back to it too.
I mean, it's one of those, of course, nobody had thought of this idea before. And simultaneously, how did no one ever think of this idea before? Because if vampires are immortal, not all of them are going to have a ton of money. So it would make sense that they would all live in a house together type of thing. And
right.
have to move around every 20, 30 years once they stop aging.
Right.
People start to notice, be like, man, you look great.
Yeah. The crush thing is funny too. Like he had a crush and now she's way older now and they with the grandma. Oh, it's brilliant. All right. So then my number 2 is A Quiet Place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great choice.
This one, not necessarily, I suppose I misspoke a little bit. This is not necessarily a classic, but it's one of the best horror. Oh, okay, go ahead. Yeah. Let me bring you up. It's one of the best horror films I've ever seen for sure. And John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, their connection, their navigating this situation of not trying to do or make too much noise. I mean, I caught myself a number of times looking at the corner of the screen because I couldn't handle what I was watching on the main area of the screen because it was so scary and so unsettling. And I love the actors who are involved as their kids. And then the situations they confront, because this could have easily become kind of a cheesy, okay, what's the next challenge? What's the next thing they have to overcome? But Krasinski fills this small world with a lot of stuff, you know, the issues with their relationships, one of the girls being deaf. So how does she know she's making noise to attract these creatures? You don't get too much explanation about why these creatures came and what happened. You do get a little bit of backstory, but it's not a lot. So the mystery is still there. Then the way they communicate with the different the stuff going on at the different places and the smoke, I think it's smoke coming out or whatever or the lights coming on that indicates certain things. All of it just very inventive and unique and funny. Not funny, but unique and unsettling. I just thought it was brilliantly done. And Krasinski does a masterful job directing this movie. It's on the reaction I had watching this movie was very close to the reaction I had when I watched Gone Baby Gone. You know, I'm like, how did this guy who I didn't really even know could create something like this? How did he create something so damn good with his first feature film? And that was one of the best horror films the last 30 years, 40 years, you know, and the sequel is coming at some point down the road if they ever release it with the COVID situation that expands the world out even more. So this certainly has the potential to be a franchise within that story with those fans. But the brilliance of this movie is you could do A Quiet Place in Russia, A Quiet Place France, A Quiet Place Germany, A Quiet Place Australia, because it happened all over the world. So you could have families in different regions, South America, whatever, and then have them in those native languages and hire directors to do those films, and you'd have a whole series that you could make money off of. So that's what the genius is about this movie, and the direction and the acting, just stellar from top to bottom, man.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that sequel. So sometime next year.
Yeah, some point. All right. What's your number one, dude?
My number one, I don't believe it's ever technically come up on the show. Maybe once.
Okay.
Maybe once.
All right.
Which is The King of Kong.
The documentary?
So good.
All right. My turn. You go ahead.
Okay. So King of Kong, if you've never seen it, so one dude, and I'm probably going to get his name wrong. I want to say it's Billy Mitchell, owns the high score on King Kong, right? And he's owned it for 20 something years, maybe 30 years at this point. So he walks around, the dude that sells like hot wings and shit. That's his job. And he's got this thick 5 o'clock shadow and a business mullet, you know, professional up front and then long in back. And he's always wearing like this American flag tie at all times, just walking around looking pretty boss. And he's had the record for so long. And there's like 2 or 3 dudes that follow him around from up close and personal and also from afar. And they run like the governing body that determines who has the record and whatnot. And he's trying to keep out this dude who just sat at home, bought himself a King Kong terminal and figured out all the variations and knew and played the perfect game and got it to a kill screen and ran up this huge score. But they didn't want to bring it in and like officially recognize it as the score. So it's the drama of this guy that has held the high score in a video game for the entirety of his adult life, actively politicking and, you know, calling them out to matches. They need to go one-on-one, or people need to, he has his sycophants like create these rules that only the new guy has to adhere to, type of stuff. Like you got to show up and do it this place. And somebody needs to be seen, verified by X number of people. And it's just this, I mean, ostensibly, as far as I know, this is genuinely real because it is a documentary and it is just fucking fascinating. There's a world that I never thought existed, that Billy Mitchell is the king of that mountaintop. And there's like 5-6 people who genuinely give a shit. And then after that, who knows the other ones just for the sake of trivia knowledge of, who has the high score in this game, in this game, in this game from that era when they were more iconic and it was easier to track that type of shit. Now, I don't even know. Fast at like a runtime, how quickly can you get through a game seems to be the only somewhat benchmark of that, or how many times, or who can get the number of, was it stars in Mario 64 the quickest to get all of them? There's a specific record for that. Some of these have had huge dollar amounts that if you can get to them, they'll pay out like $1 million. Just talking about the video game record world of the modern versions that I know are speed runs.
Oh yeah.
For various types of shit. But
yeah.
The King of Kong, man, it's just ridiculous that this is real life.
I got to see it. I've never seen it. So I got to get it. Yeah, especially being an 80s kid. I'm sure it speaks my language like crazy.
It's not even really about that, although it kind of is.
Okay.
This guy's fame is very specific to the 80s, and then watching him ride off into the sunset on this fucking fame is very, it's something you see quite a bit, but
right.
It is fascinating.
Okay.
The egos involved in who has the high score all time for Donkey Kong. It means the world to about 6 people.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. And to those 6 people, it is life and fucking death. And one dude has been strutting around Kong Town for 30 years. Cock of the walk, and somebody new showed up.
That's the way it goes. Lord knows I know about that. With the throwdown and stuff. All right, so my number one is Toy Story. I mean, what am I going to do? It's under 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done a good job talking about other films we've never put on lists or only rarely put on lists. So I had to put that as number one for my own personal thing. So I love that movie. Still go back to it all the time. And if we're saying top 10 films under 90 minutes, that's a film that certainly qualifies in many, many ways. But we've talked about it a million times, Matt. Our Pixar is one of our biggest episodes every time we do it. So I don't know what more I can add to it other than it's an incredible film. If you haven't watched it yet, what's your problem? Like, go watch it.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about Toy Story.
Yeah.
At this point.
All right. Well, there's our top 10 movies under 90 minutes, our separate lists, and we're going to combine them now. There'll be a lot of coin flipping, I imagine, unless there's some negotiation going on here.
Probably just coin flipping, and then we've got shout outs after this, and also James's list, and we'll get to those in just 1 second. So I'll give you Toy Story 1. I got zero problem with that.
Okay.
We both have What We Do, and it's my 2. So number 2.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I can argue that.
We don't have anything else, do we?
In common? No.
All right. Well, what's your next highest? I got my number 1.
Put your number 1 up there because my number 1's already on there.
All right. What's your next highest?
My number 2, A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place it is.
Okay.
My next highest is 3.
Yeah, so is mine. Let's do it. Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I got Stand By Me.
Okay.
I think that's a coin flip.
All right. And while he's searching for the coin, don't forget Golden Ticket. Every Monday, we do it on the Top 10 show that the new episodes drop on the audio and on the YouTube channel. If you're not on the YouTube channel, get on the YouTube channel for sure. The Top 10 YouTube channel, and we've got Topic Thunder and Golden Ticket every week, as well as our main show. So get involved in that as well. All right, what do we got?
All right, I'm gonna flip.
Okay.
Call it in the air.
Okay.
Tails. All right, it is heads.
Oh, fantastic, Mr. Fox.
All right, then stand. I got my 4.
So do I. Rashomon.
All right. Flip the coin.
What's your 4 again?
Airplane.
Oh yeah, all right.
Okay,
what
you
if
ready?
it's ever been a versus? All right, go ahead. Yes.
I've seen Airplane so many more times, and I'm gonna see Airplane so many more times.
Yeah, fair. Totally fair.
All right, call in the air. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Heads.
Oh, shit.
This is the sterling stuff you hope to get. What do you got?
Airplane it is.
All right. Where are we at?
Number 9.
Oh, wow. All
My
right.
5.
I think that your 5 goes because my 5 was What We Do in the Shadows, so that's already on the list. All right. Do you have your 6?
Yes, I do.
Which is?
Attack the Block.
You know what? I will happily concede that over my 6, which is Zelig, because I don't think we should put a Woody Allen film on the last top 10. So there we go.
Easy.
All right, let's do this thing. The top 10 movies under 90 minutes. Yeah. At number 10.
Attack the Block.
At number 9.
Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
At number 8.
Rashomon.
At number 7.
Airplane.
At number 6.
Stand By Me.
At number 5.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
At number 4.
A Quiet Place.
At number 3.
King of Kong. The King.
At number 2.
What We Do in the Shadows.
And our number 1 film here on the top 10 list is
Toy Story.
Oh, Toy Story. There we go. That's our top 10 list of the movies under 90 minutes. Best movies under 90 minutes. Thank you so much to James Leggett for that
Yes, sir.
topic. Shall we hear his list?
All right. At 10, he's got The Public Enemy.
Oh, nice choice.
9, Eraserhead. 8 is Borat. 7 is The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, yeah.
6 is Toy Story. 5 is The Bride of Frankenstein. 4, Duck Soup. 3, High Noon.
High Noon. Good choice.
2 is Rashomon. And number 1 is Persona.
Oh, that's an Ingmar Bergman film, I think. Wow. Okay. All right. Joe.
And then he writes at the bottom, thank you, Matt and John, for always putting on a great show and for picking my topic. I'm all for long movies, but you got to respect when a film doesn't waste time and gets you in and out.
Yeah.
Extra points when they have something meaningful to say and can say it in a short enough runtime that you can go out and enjoy the rest of your day.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Fair point.
Very true. Thank you, James, for sending that in. It was a good topic.
Thank you, James. All right, Matt, let's move on to our shout outs.
Yep. Everybody that supports us over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10. At the $5 and up here, you get a shout out at the end of the month on the show. And we just start at the top, read them all down. And it's our way of saying thank you to everybody that supports us over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
I don't care. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's go. Henrik Winterland.
Phil Knuckles.
Ryan Latonin. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah, that looks right. Zach Cooper.
Ray Rosh.
Robert Miller.
Ryan Payne.
Daniel Bettenhausen.
Colson Kouliopoulos.
Brandon M. Eggleston.
Callie Onken.
Justin Kelly.
Ruben E25.
Lachlan
Ruben
Skinner.
Sorry, Ruben Enriquez. Sorry, Matt. Ruben
No
Enriquez.
worries. Lachlan Skinner.
Nancy Mallory.
Benny Haste.
Charles Kim.
Michael Ashby.
Joseph Curran.
Fred Castillo.
Edward Wilshire.
J. Scotty Sinclair.
What's up, Jay Scotty? Charles J. Clark.
Ryan Beachy.
Thomas Clarence.
Sam Monsalvi.
Zachariah Kaufman.
Jeff Dickin.
Sean Labua.
Francisco J. Torres.
James Nost.
Connor Teal.
Michael D. Dyke.
Robert Francisco Suareche.
Michael Kelly.
Tim Reimert.
Brandon Monroe.
Dominic Greaves.
Cody Rexford.
Eric Bruin.
Matt Simmons.
Kyle Beckworth.
Jonathan Caro.
Jeff Kelly.
Jeremy Bowers.
Josh Stetz.
James Petty.
Nick Francis.
Billy Gilliams.
Christopher Brockman.
Blake Gant.
Kyle Feller.
Haley Morton.
Cameron Chapman.
Alex Russell.
Matthew Poland.
Hans Eskelson.
Bobby Michael.
Daniel McCarty.
Stephen Armstrong.
Paul Cree.
Drew Burkhart.
Stacy Flores.
Scott Zarnecki,
Luke Allison,
Mark Fawcett,
Kristen Kurtz,
Bobby Carney,
Dylan Johnson,
Gareth Weldon,
Cody Seal,
Ian Horner,
Timothy R. Williams,
Chris Lemke,
oh, Lemke, Nick Baldwin,
Johanna Lenoverta.
nice said, well said, JIC 317,
I hope I got it right. DJ Red Hot Cox,
Jordan Wiltshire,
Kyle Spahn,
James Leggett,
Ahmad Ali,
Darren Bush,
Angela Dashner,
James Winstead,
Pasquale Buffamonte,
Dan Petraglia,
Bernie Knapp,
nice, Sean Scott,
Albert Wiradharma,
Christopher McIntyre,
Louis Berrigan,
Josh Lawrence,
Chelsea Lewis,
Adelardo Fuente,
Reagan Lovig,
Rodrigo Valverde III,
Stephen Westaway,
Lawrence Witt,
Andre Constantinesco,
Elijah York,
Lewan Williams,
Steve Schlackemeyer,
Catherine Samuels,
Todd Whitkey,
Houston Bodley.
Philip Hunt. Bless you.
Thank you. Roque Ariana,
Keith Archer,
Matt Hannigan,
Maurice Robinson,
Alan Snuffleupagus Bennett,
Marcus Davenport,
Brandon Caridi,
Michael Schmurr,
Ravi Prasad,
Joe Farrelly,
Charlie McKenna,
Gunnar R.,
Mark Menchaca,
Josh Mabry,
Yanvia Canazar,
Ben Cartwright,
Nizar Alabasi,
Tim Begg.
Jeremy Metz,
What's up, Jeremy? John Dowse,
Juan Reyes,
Blair Simpson.
and I lost my place
No worries.
trying to stare at this. Josh Murphy,
Alex Ramsey,
Josh Sachs,
George Menchaca,
Dale Varley,
Cody Markham,
Phil Neglia,
Chris Consiglio,
Wayne Murphy,
Ashley Prowls,
Edward Dobbins,
Nick Dornoff,
Johanna Schmidt,
David Gregson,
Andrew Herbs,
Zujayanth Fernando,
Sam A., Eric Stevenson,
Evan Zoller,
Thorsten Amuler,
Eric Bloor,
Zach Butts,
Jacob Pullen,
Philip Lane,
Kevin Fuss,
Jen Kemp,
Ben Archambault,
Ryan McKenna,
Andy Tan,
Brian Akins,
Frank Montoya,
Mike Shea,
what's up, Mike Shea, Alexander Marzonia,
Gareth Wisenant,
Deborah Torres,
Sean Brennan,
Mike Barrington,
Ed Buzzkirk,
Ellis Menchaca,
Jeff Saliba,
Noel Kelleher,
Jim Payne,
Scott Kohler,
The Cinephiles,
ew, David Mitchell Baker,
Andy Ortiz,
John Keefe,
Kristen Smith,
Matthew Lee Cravens,
Marcel Behrman,
James Trapani,
Drew Inns,
Dan Nye,
Seth Shearer,
Laura Deverson,
Andrew Hayes,
Niall Blackie,
Matt Yund,
Andrew Marker,
Chris Jones,
Luke Larson,
Chris Cabrera,
Julianne Key,
Robert Haley,
Joey Anthony,
Christos Alexakos.
oh, and Anthony Casanova.
That is thanks to everybody for supporting us over at patreon.com/the top 10. And hell of a show today, buddy.
Yeah, a lot of fun, dude. A lot of fun. And thanks to everyone who's participating in the Golden Ticket. Thanks to all of you who are watching it. Don't forget that happens every Monday. New episodes there. And shout out to Bobby Carney, who's doing a great job doing all the social media for us. Much love to him and all the clips he's finding. Some funny stuff that I've forgotten about. We've done so many shows. It's great to be reminded. I hope you all are enjoying that too. And yeah, listen, I want to say something to everybody. This is the time when we need your support here on the Top 10 show. I know there's a lot of people angling for your dollar. I know people are struggling right now, but we want to ask if you've been on the fence about supporting us. We're generating all this extra new content for you all to enjoy. The Golden Ticket's one of the proudest things we've ever done. The Topic Thunder has been great every week, and we're bringing you a new show every week. So we need your support now more than ever. If you haven't supported the Top 10 show in the past, or you've been on the fence about becoming a patron, I can't encourage you enough, and I hope I echo Matt's sentiments as well. We can't encourage you enough to be a part of the Top 10 Patreon. Come and get involved. Top 10 Patreon. Patreon.com/the top 10, the number 10 there. Go and see the multiple tiers. Come and help us out. If it's $1, $5, $10 a month, come and help us out and help support the show and keep it going in its iteration. You are the lifeblood of the show. You make it possible for us to keep doing the show every week and coming up with new shows to do, new content to put out there for you all. So please come and support us now more than ever. Your dollar and your support is so important to us here on the Top 10.
Yeah, and to those that already support us, we are setting aside, look in your emails. You'll be getting an email for those that still haven't competed in the first round of Topic Thunder. You've gotten, or not Topic Thunder, I apologize, Golden Ticket. You've got numerous emails. So this one we need you to respond to. If you want to participate in this opening round, we're shooting for October 17th, which is a Saturday. You'll be getting an email very shortly outlining the details. But if you hear it here first, go look in your email because you should have one by the time you hear this. Respond, and we're going to try and work out and get out because there's only a handful left, and then we're done with the first round.
Yeah.
So we're trying to schedule that all out. We want to get everybody that wants to participate onto that first round, close this out strong. We've had some fantastic games so far. Yeah. Back and forth, neck and neck, closes out at the end. It's a shitload of fun for us each and every time we do it. So we want to get everybody that wants to participate and has said so. So hopefully that day we'll try and be as flexible as humanly possible and have some in the middle of the day or maybe one in the late afternoon or something if somebody's got to work. So we'll figure it out. And that is it. October 17th. Look in your emails. You should be getting an email, an official one from the show about it coming up. And I think that's it for me this week. You can follow me anywhere at Matt Nost and check out Dropping Dimes as the NBA playoffs go off or settle the score. And that's it for me.
All right. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And don't forget our Top 10 YouTube channel. For some of you are listening to us on the podcast feed, you can come watch our pretty little faces talking about whatever we're talking about every week. You come put faces to names of the people that you've been with, talking in the Facebook group and what have you, seeing them compete in the Golden Ticket. And then, of course, seeing some of them ask questions on Topic Thunder. So you can watch us do all of that on camera at the YouTube channel for the Top 10. Just look for the Top 10 logo and you'll see there where to subscribe and what have you. Please, as I said, follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. But don't forget the Cinephiles podcast. We're about to drop the Black Panther episodes that we're doing with Winston Marshall and Jay Washington. And, of course, the Geek Buddies podcast and my own YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. Come get involved in there as well. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you next time on the Top 10 Show.